Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the RP channel today. If you are returning, if you are back, I am so happy to have you here. Today, I was going to talk about something else, but actually, I last minute had another idea of what I actually wanted to talk about because sometimes when I'm sitting down to plan my videos, there's a lot that goes into it, obviously, but I feel like there's this need to kind of perform. And there's this thought in the back of my mind that's always thinking about how well a video is going to be performing in order to attract the right people, in order to attract a larger audience. My intentionality with my channel has always been to reach the right people, but with the right message. And that message obviously has to be authentic to me. Not that my other videos are not authentic to me, but sometimes I do feel like it's too planned. So we're entering a new era where I'm being far less unapologetic because I realize that growing into having a bigger audience obviously entails that lots of people are going to have lots of different opinions. And I find that a lot of creators have the tendency to tone themselves down. This video is dedicated to all of my creatives, all of the people who grew up thinking that they didn't have any place in the entire world, that they felt like they belonged to. This is the space where you belong. So this is your sign to stop living mediocre. That's what I'm going to call this video. I had a whole different video planned for today's video. And then randomly, I went to bed last night thinking about this video idea. Randomly, this just popped up in my head, and I got out of my bed and wrote it on a piece of paper just in case I would forget. So that is what I'm talking about today. I'm going to scratch everything that I was supposed to talk about. Today, let's talk about the life of being a creative and why it is so difficult, but this is your sign to stop living mediocre if you are meant to do greater things. Let's get into it. What is mediocre? What is flat out normal, boring, and very uninteresting? It's pretty much everybody's day-to-day life nowadays. Nobody is really that interesting. Most people that you meet are pretty much kind of the same. And if you do meet somebody interesting, it kind of takes all of your attention away and it puts all of your attention towards them because it's almost so unusual. I truly think there are people who are born who are not meant to live a really mediocre life. And I always felt like I was one of them. And let this be your sign to be the art that you know yourself to be. Create the art that you know yourself to create and not worry about what other people are going to say about you or think about your art. Just be an artist. Being an artist means doing the dance of life and accepting that things are not always going to play out the way that you thought they were going to, but at least you get to live and create. Is that not enough? There was a movie that I was watching last night with my sister, and it was called Soul. It's a Disney movie, and it's probably one of my favorite Disney movies ever created. I think every child should watch it, and even if you're an adult, you should watch it 3 times, okay? Total of 3. Because the message in the movie is so beautiful. I won't ruin it for anybody, but it's all about finding your true purpose in life, but your purpose isn't necessarily something like one thing, like a field, like, your purpose isn't dancing. Your purpose isn't, like for me, my purpose isn't creating videos, but my purpose is living life. My purpose is finding wisdom and sharing it with others and enjoying my life. When I started on YouTube, it was really easy for me to film content for the most part and come up with ideas because I was very detached to the outcome. I didn't think that I was going to get famous. I didn't think that I was even really going to get paid. I just went into it really wanting to create, and my soul had an itch and a burning desire to create something. I'm standing over here because the sun is over here and then you won't be able to see me. So I'm over here right now. Okay. And it was a lot easier to create and actually get results, effective results, as in I was making the money that I wanted to make. I was partnering with brands that I wanted to partner with. And that slowly started to fade as I got so swept up in what it meant to actually be a creative. And when your art becomes your entire life, that's when it turns into an obsession, I think. And in a bad way, you actually end up going in the opposite direction. Your hobby becomes your full-time career. Now it's like the very thing that you need to do, you have to do it now. You don't do it for fun, but you have to do it now in order to put food on your table. And that's when the art doesn't become as fruitful and as authentic as we would like it to be. So this was a big realization I had in my own life because I was starting to pay attention to the numbers, which is usually not like me at all. A lot of people can see what I do as a very successful career, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how I feel, right? Because it's me communicating to you through the camera. And if I feel a certain way and I'm trying to communicate in another way, you're going to feel that I don't actually mean what I'm telling you. So I think it's such a priority for artists and creatives to take care of themselves and not only take care of their art, but take care of themselves. Because at the end of the day, the art wouldn't be without you. You are the person that creates the art. life is not supposed to be mediocre. And I think I've always known that as a child because only creative and interesting and colorful things excited me. Anytime I went to school, I was never into math, science, or anything that had a really structured, logical way of doing things or like only one right answer, which is why I levitated more towards writing because I felt like I had more freedom. With art, I obviously had more freedom as well because I really didn't like to color within the lines. I wanted to be an expression of my soul, and that meant doing lots of different things. It's like even nowadays, the funny thing is, we see a lot of people in the media take up so much space. You know, Ariana Grande, for example, she started off as an actor, she went into singing, was widely successful, went back to acting, and she does so many different things. We see Madison Beer, she wrote a book, all of these really amazing women doing so many amazing things, but people hate on them because they want to fit them into a box. And it's like they want them to almost stick to only one thing, but why can't art and expression be expressed in many different forms? I mean, that's what I plan to do. I don't want to just stop at just writing a book because, a lot of people ask me if I would ever want to write a book, and of course I would, but I would also love to act. I always think about acting. I love film for the fact that I just watch and observe the actors because I think that film and acting is so fascinating. The same goes with, directing a movie, right? I would love to be a director one day. I would love to make a song one day, become an artist. I have so many different things that I want to do, but I feel like a lot of people have the tendency to minimize themselves, and it convinces me to minimize myself too. Because this is me saying that if you are a creative person, do not do that anymore because it will not serve you for the grand scheme of your life. I couldn't relate to a lot of my peers growing up for whatever reason. I just never felt like I belonged. And it's just this feeling of isolation and this internal feeling that you belong somewhere different. And I didn't realize till later that it was actually just me, my soul wanting to express itself so badly, but I was around people who thought so small that my dreams seem too big. Do you know what I mean? A quote that goes, if you spend time with small-minded people, your dreams are going to obviously seem far too big and even too attainable for you. Whereas if you spend time with millionaires all the time, your brain is going to somehow figure out how to make $1 million because you're constantly surrounded by that. So that becomes your new normal. Like, what kind of relationship do you have to your art? How often do you get sidetracked because you think so heavily about the logistics of it and the numbers and how much you're going to get paid and all these other things that actually don't matter if you go into what truly matters, which is how the art makes you feel when you create it and how you feel creating it for other people sometimes too. Like that's how I feel when a video that I made, it makes a great impact on somebody and they say, hey, this thing that you said really changed my life, even if it's just a 30-second thing, or even if it's just, something I said that they took away with themselves that they thought, this is so valuable, I'm going to apply it to my life, and then their life gets better as a result of it. That is the impact that I want to make. It's funny because I also feel like the world was really not built for us in the sense that everything is designed for everybody to work a certain way, and I don't see my place in it. For example, a 9 to 5 job. I don't see myself ever working a 9 to 5 job, and I never have, because I just don't feel like, obviously there's different ways to make money, but working a job every single day that you don't even really like, being married to somebody that you don't even really like, having kids that maybe at a time that you weren't most comfortable having them, being this mentality of going to work every single day, doing the exact same mundane, boring system, which might work for a lot of people, but I think I speak for a lot of creative people when I say that that is not the life for me. And it's because it's so depleting. Any job that I've ever had has always felt like such a chore. And it's not like I just go there and I'm like lazy. I will still do the job. Like I've always still done the job, every single job I've had, but I've always underperformed. I've always showed up late because my care for those jobs was just so non-existent that nothing mattered to me in those places. And when I was in those places, all I was thinking about was how much more I could create. And that's the thing, is like, if you have an itch that you want to create something or do something, scratch it, because sometimes it will stop knocking, which is like another word for your intuition. Like sometimes your intuition is speaking to you all the time, but eventually if you ignore it enough times, it's not going to keep knocking on your door, right? It is best created when you let go. See, even with this video today, I did not plan to film this video, and I'm very detached from how this video will perform, because mostly it's just me expressing exactly what I have been facing or going through with my channel, which is just feeling a little bit of a sense of purposelessness, because I let go of the reason that I was doing this to begin with. And some of you guys actually commented on some of my recent videos mentioning it. And at first, I didn't really understand it, but later on, I realized that I looked back at my old videos. It was really easy for me to express what it is that I truly thought about life because I was very detached from the outcome. And I think that's when the best art is created, is when you're not attached to what you're going to receive out of it, but you're just creating it just purely just to create. And I think that's a very purposeful thing for a soul to do. If you haven't watched the movie Soul, go and watch it. It's going to change your entire perspective. Like, it's so eye-opening, and I think that more kids and more adults should watch it because it plays on such important and crucial things in life that I think a lot of people need to hear. And especially when it comes to your job and the way that you've been living, like, a lot of people are really okay with living really normal lives. I don't know why. I've never been like that, and I sure as hell know that my friends have never really been comfortable with that either. So if it's not speaking to this mundane 9 to 5 lifestyle or whatever it is, just go do something creative. Push yourself to do something creative and get out of your comfort zone and do something meaningful and purposeful where you're impacting people or people are being inspired by you because they can see how much you love what you do. Do you know how it feels to be inspired and watch somebody do something that they love so much that it makes you want to change your entire life and actually do something that you love? That is just such an amazing feeling. And I get it because to be a creative means to sacrifice a lot. First of all, a lot of people are going to talk about what you do, talk a lot of shit about, the fact that you didn't go to school maybe, or that you didn't get the best degree, or da 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 da, because, you want to do something that's very unconventional, or a very unconventional way of doing something. And that's going to have a lot of people talking. So first of all, you're going to be an outcast. Second of all, you have to find a way to make a living while also trying to do the creative things, which means a lot of your time is allocated to those creative things, but then the rest of your time is allocated to trying to work part-time jobs or something in order to make a living because cost of living is so high now. So it's a lot. I think the most impactful artists are also the ones that are willing to fight for their art, and they believe in the vision that they have to share with the world, and so they don't give up on it. For me, I had so many different reasons as to why I shouldn't have started my channel. I had so many people telling me that, being on YouTube was no longer successful anymore, that it's not really good money, so I should just stop, and that I shouldn't even start. Actually, they were saying this before I even started, and they said, it's so hard to be noticed on YouTube. It's not hard to do anything, guys. It is not hard to do anything. When it comes to manifestation, you need to understand 3 things, okay? I actually wrote these down because I was like, you know what? I was thinking about my own life and I manifested a lot of things. And, I am living the life that I wanted to be living years ago. But I thought about it and I was like, what are the 3 main things that I would tell somebody right now who wanted to manifest their dream life? So I'm going to tell you right now. 1, the only people that achieve their dream life and are able to manifest to begin with are the ones that can return back to baseline as quickly as possible. The easiest thing that I learned was how to return back to baseline when my emotions go out of order. So again, you're at this stable state and then something happens, someone says something to you, and then you go either up or you go either down. It doesn't matter if you go up or down, you're not at baseline level. So let's say somebody says something and it shoots you all the way down. You have tasks and you have responsibilities and you have a dream to live out. You cannot always just stay in this low state when everything, something bad happens. You need to be able to really quickly come back to baseline. Basically, it's asking yourself, how do you get to a stable state of mind when something happens? And this way, your tolerance for obstacles and negativity goes up. Number 2, I think the easiest way I manifested was also in knowing that life is ordinary. Get over it. You know how on social media, everybody always wants to make it look like their life is so exciting. Every single second they're partying, drinking, off doing something. It is not a purposeful life or fulfilling life, at least not for me, to be living that way. And I don't think that you should let other people convince you that that's purposeful, because it's not. A lot of those people are very, very miserable. I've met them in real life too. Life is still the same ordinary and mundane collection of moments, but the people who can find beauty even in the ordinary, the most ordinary moments, go places. Because life is ordinary. That's the reality. Is not every moment is going to be exciting, full of adrenaline, all of that other stuff. Life is very ordinary. And the more you make peace with that, the easier it's going to be for you to come to terms with the reality of what life is. And you're going to live happier that way too, because you're going to have less attachment to external things, because you're not always going to have to prove yourself to other people, buy things to look certain ways on social media. Do you know what I mean? For example, when you sit on a porch watching over nature with tea in your hand and you're looking over it, it's silent outside. It's something that's very ordinary. But when you keep sitting in it, you realize it's so ordinary that it's actually extraordinary. And that's the moment, that's the phase of life that you want to get to. That's the realization that you want to come to, because that's when life really starts to get beautiful. Number three, if you're serious about creating a new life, you will challenge your beliefs, the beliefs that you grew up with, the people that are around you, their beliefs, your friends, your family's beliefs, because you always need to be the warrior against your mind. You always need to be challenging it if you want it to grow. And sometimes it's going to be very painful, very uncomfortable. But if you can get through it, you will arrive at your nirvana. You know what I mean? Like a state of enlightenedness where you have such little attachment to things happening around you and to people around you that you live in such a blissful state 24/7. Why wouldn't you want that? The most successful people are the ones with the most open minds. So open your mind. It's going to help you so much in this life. Sorry to be pointing. It's rude to point, but I'm pointing at you because I need you to really understand this. So you need those three in order to manifest. It's not that hard, okay? One, don't let the negativity get to you ever. Just keep going. Two, understand that life is so ordinary that it is, in fact, extraordinary. And three, challenge your beliefs and go to war with your mind every single day. This will help you. This will help you so much. In 10 years' time, you're going to look back and you're going to realize that you should have just listened to yourself instead of trying to be like somebody else, listen to everybody else, go with the flow, go with the herd. Instead, you would have wanted to do what you truly wanted to do, which is create something, my love, whether that be art. If you're an artist, if you like to paint, draw, if you want to do content creation, just do it. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Nothing. If you already don't like your life, what do you have to lose? Nothing. The only thing you have to lose is a bad life, but you didn't like it anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? Anyways, I really hope that you took something from that or that inspired you in some way. If it did, let me know. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.